Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the SBP. You know how we do it. I want to wish everybody out there a happy Father's Day. I hope everybody is doing well. Hey, me and my guys, we are back. We're going to talk some NBA today and a little bit of football. Let's see how everybody's doing. Jawan, how you feeling today, brother?
I'm great, man. Definitely great. Can't wait to jump into these topics.
No doubt, no doubt. Didge, what's up?
Doing good. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Definitely got to call my dad after this. I would have tried earlier, but I know he still sleeps somewhere. So, yeah, but I'm good. I got my coffee, ready to talk.
Oh, man. And Joel, what's good, my man?
What's up? What's up? Happy Father's Day. Let's do it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. We're going, like I said, we're going to talk some NBA, a little bit of football, and then we're going to let everybody go enjoy their day. Especially WNBA fans. I think it's three games on today. I think at noon, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese will be doing battle again on CBS. I know some people are tuned into that. But we gotta wait. We gotta wait for the next game of the NBA Finals until tomorrow. So I always hate when there's no NBA, like on a Father's Day or Mother's Day. Give us something. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to plan better, NBA. Y'all got to do better, man. It is what it is. But like we were talking on our last show, guys, a couple of weeks ago, I think we were all out here predicting. Source was on with us, and we were predicting the what was going to happen in these finals. I know I had the Mavs, I believe, winning it in 6. My prediction is not looking all that good right now. Do you guys remember? You guys remember what you had?
I think I agreed with you. I don't think I said Mavs in 7. So I'm pretty sure I said Mavs in 6 as well. And like you said, not looking great.
Yeah, it does not look good at all. But it is what it is. We saw that the Mavs were able to win a game and win the last game, and they looked pretty good in that game. So what they're able to do in this next one coming up tomorrow, it's going to be interesting since it's going back to Boston. Joel, what's your overall thoughts, man, on these finals
series? Well, yeah. It hasn't gone exactly how I saw it. Though I figured it'd be close. I didn't think it would be one-sided. I didn't realize how big an impact KP would have had as he did, especially while he was healthy there. And especially that first game, he dominated them, and they had no answer for them. And it really did. I didn't know that backcourt. Because remember, I did say best defense versus best offense in terms of, and a matter of speaking, that kind of played out towards the defensive side's way because Kyrie kind of didn't. They kind of shut him down for those first couple of games, and it was not. That's unlike what I've seen. I've kind of expected not many people can shut him down if he doesn't want to be shut down, and he didn't really show up those games offensively, and Dallas just couldn't stop anyone. On top of that, so that doesn't help. That bench didn't give you much of anything until that last game, and that's really what it came down to. Now there was a significant injury with KP going down and probably not coming back. You thought
I thought he played last game.
No, he didn't play. Did he? No.
I thought he got in like a couple minutes. I knew obviously once it was the blowout, they weren't going to keep him in, but I know they were like, "Oh yeah, he can play."
To Dig's point, the coach did say that he was available and they'd play him when they thought it was necessary, but I don't know if it actually got necessary.
Okay.
You don't need him in there in a blowout.
Well, that's what I was saying. But I thought at least he got in like early enough where it's like, okay. Then
he might have. Like, I don't remember it, but I do remember that Mazzulla did say that he was available to play when they need him in that said game. I just don't remember how quickly the game got out of hand. So I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't either. Yeah. So that's why I was like, I'm sure he must have at least got a minute.
It was in the second quarter when it got out of hand.
I'm sure he might have played a few minutes in the first, maybe.
No, I'm looking. He didn't.
He didn't. He didn't play at all.
No, he didn't get in. Like you said, he was available, but it got out of hand too quickly.
Yeah.
So, there's that.
Up 3-0, you don't need to risk it.
No,
And I think that's what their thought was.
Even if you go 3-2, you don't need to risk it. It's only when it becomes 3-3.
Yeah.
And you're like, yo, you might have to die on the score, dog.
We can reattach that leg.
Yeah, we'll reattach it later, dog. You might have to just finish this out. I'm sorry.
Juwan, what's your overall thoughts so far?
I don't remember what team I picked. I do remember though saying that Jaylen Brown was someone I was going to look at as far as guarding Kyrie, because I thought obviously outside of Drew Holiday, he was obviously the second best defender that the Celtics have. And like you guys were saying, they were kind of shutting down Kyrie. I don't know what it was, because at this point, he's too much of a vet for us to believe that it was a mental thing. You can't have mental blocks. You've been in the league this long. Like that's definitely not acceptable.
After 2 weeks, I just had two questions.
Mm-hmm.
First one was, where on earth is Carmen Sandiego, and where the heck is Kyrie Irving? Those were two questions I had.
He's with Carmen Sandiego, apparently.
He showed up in game 3. They just couldn't get the win. He had at least 30 in game 3. So like he at least showed up there.
He did. Game 3, you can't blame on him because wasn't that the game Luka got fouled out? Yeah. He tried his best. It was just every time you kept looking up. I'll say this, Dallas Mavericks. We as basketball fans know you're going to lose this series every time you put Tim Hardaway on that court. Every single time. That's why
he hasn't been on the court.
I don't know if that man is like a magnet for losing. I don't know what it is.
He's been out of the rotation until that last game because it was a blowout. And he had a good game when they were.
Well, no, not even that. I think the game they're just talking about where Luka got fouled out. Hardaway had to come in because there was no Luka.
Yeah, I mean,
and in those minutes, he was not really all that effective to help.
No, his plus minus was minus 16 that game.
But no. So to your point, Didge, that this is not a blame thing for Kyrie. It's more so of So when I say that, let me be very specific. Let me be very clear. When I say that, it's because out of everybody on the Dallas Mavericks, he is that guy, right? Mm-hmm. Not that guy talent-wise. Well, obviously talent-wise, but I mean. He's been there before, right? Yeah. So it's like, yes, you're not why your team is losing, but what's going into the mental, right, of this team? Because game 1, game 2, close games, right? Those are both close games. Execution, man. Execution. You got to find more ways to be useful if you're Kyrie. If they're shutting you down offensively, that's when you get in your assist bag. That's when you get in your, can you maybe play some smothering defense? Maybe not lockdown, but some smothering D. So it's just those different things, right? But as far as the series as a whole, I mean, it's kind of going how most people assumed it would. Boston is the better team, right? Now, whether or not you thought Tatum or Brown would actually live up to it, that's here nor there, but they are the better team. So right now we're just witnessing the better team do what a better team does. But again, nobody's reached 4 games yet. So it's very possible Dallas could come back. Very possible.
It'd be interesting.
It'd be very interesting. It would be interesting for the legacy of Luka and Kyrie, and it would be detrimental to the legacy of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Indeed.
Oh man, the headlines that next day. Oof.
What's your thoughts so far?
I feel like Joanne and Joel have hit the hammer on the nail with how the series is going. So I want to talk specifically about the other thing that we talked about with this series and how Tatum kind of needed to be the one who leads them to that championship, and he's not. Of course, the media is going to give it to him because I feel like the narrative is kind of switching. Like, you got to kind of hype him up, but he's not the reason that they're winning. Mm-hmm. Even in that game 3 victory where I think he had like 31, that was his only one over 20. Brown was right behind him with 30. So we know who has really been their spark to win. And I think that game, that was the game that Drew might have had like 25, 26. I can't remember if that was game 2 or 3, but
Yeah,
Tatum hasn't ever been the sole reason that they're winning. And to the point of what we were talking about last podcast, when we were saying he kind of needs to be their spark to the victory. If we're talking about how this is going to be his legacy, kind of feels like he kind of is getting pulled to it. Like it does feel like the same thing that happened last time they were in the finals with the lights. I'm not gonna say too bright because obviously he's not being terrible, but he's not being the star that he's supposed to be. If he's supposed to be the leader of this team, it does feel like somebody is pulling him, saying like, "Yo, let's go. We got to do this. We got to do this." Kind of feels like that might be Brown.
Can I ask Did something real quick?
Yeah.
I agree. First of all, I agree with everything you just said. So this isn't like me going against that at all. But should we maybe have a different conversation when it comes to Tatum? So instead of the conversation being maybe you're not living up to what your part should be, maybe should we start having the conversation, maybe Tatum's not the best player on that team. Maybe what he's doing is what he's doing as the Robin. Maybe we've been making him more marketable, but he's maybe never really been the better player of the two. So for me, his average play, we could call it, right? Very average play. I would kind of toss up more. I would kind of find more mind-boggling if they were losing. But because they're winning, I have to applaud him for not being the reason they're losing, rather than him needing to do more to be the reason they win. But do you think maybe it's time to have the conversation that maybe he's not the true star on that team? Maybe it's Brown. Maybe Tatum's Robin.
But then you can't be out here saying, "Oh, why isn't he top 5 in the league? Why are they keeping him out of the top 5 players in the league?" Because that's what especially a lot of Boston fans do.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, I mean that's fair, but that's also. But yes, you're absolutely right. But
they don't because they don't do it for Brown.
The media has marketed Jason Tatum as the face of that franchise, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it was deserved or not, they've marketed him. And during the regular season, he does show up. It's only in the postseason Jason Tatum decides to go on vacation early, right? So it's like maybe that needs to be the conversation. That Tatum's not doing anything wrong necessarily. It's just maybe we had it wrong. Maybe we had it wrong. Because I don't think any of us have ever viewed Tatum as head over heels better than Brown, right? So it's the idea of maybe now they're way more equal than we thought. But the reason why they worked so well together is that Tatum says, "I'll carry the load during the regular season." Brown says, "I got you in the postseason." It's why they work so well. We saw that a lot with the Miami Heat, right? We saw them as a big three in the regular season, and it really felt like it was LeBron and everybody else kind of just tagging along for that playoff run, the finals runs. Obviously, Wade and Bosh had big games, but LeBron, that's where he kind of submitted, like, it's me head over heels over anybody else that's on my team, right? Like when you got to those big moments. And it looks like maybe Jaylen Brown saying, it's me that's head over heels better than everybody else on my team in these big moments. So I was just asking if maybe we need to switch the conversation between these two.
It's funny because if you look at the first 2 games, Jason Tatum shot horribly. Like, it was atrocious, man. You go back and look at his field goal percentage and what he scored, he was terrible. Still found a way to be, productive, though, because was it the first game? Or I might get the games mixed up. I think it was the first game. He had, 12 rebounds, I think? 11, 12 rebounds.
Yeah, he had 11.
Didn't he have a triple-double?
And then the second game, 12 assists?
12 assists. He had 9 rebounds. He didn't get the triple-double. So that's the thing. It's not like he's not being effective.
Yeah.
But it's to what your point was, if we're going who's Batman, who is Robin, kind of getting it kind of feels like we're getting it flipped, especially from the way that everyone's sort of pushing who's the clear leader of this team.
Yeah. it's gonna be interesting to see, what goes on the rest of this series between the two of them. There's all of a sudden there's Tatum, so there's maybe the Mavs push them to another game, and this Tatum ends up having to be the guy that actually ends up saving them. How involved is he in them actually having to win? Does he have to carry the team? Is he the one that has to? This thing gets pushed to a game 7, which not a lot of people are saying that right now, but it's Tatum the guy that takes over in that game 7. So, it's going to be crazy to see how this thing just ends up, and it's definitely going to be crazy to see how people, view both of these guys when this series is over. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I've always thought that Jaylen Brown was a really good player, but I will be the first to admit to you, I kind of question. I know they had to pay him. I guess they had to pay him, but I'm sitting there thinking, I know he's good. Am I really giving him $300 million? You know what I'm saying? This, this 286 or whatever it is he got, and of course, he's proven me wrong pretty much this entire, this entire season, and definitely in these playoffs. So.
Yeah, I mean, but you weren't wrong to have that thought. I think many of us had that thought. I think sometimes when we look at contracts, I think what we sometimes have to remember is sometimes players are that valuable to their team, right? Maybe if Jaylen Brown went to the Rockets, maybe you say to yourself, do you pay him that much when you could have maybe waited, got somebody else? That's then when you can ask that. But whenever a team retains a player, you just have to assume it's because they were that important to what that team's doing that they were willing to pay crazy. I mean, Prime, we're about to try to pay OG and Anunoby like Kawhi Leonard money, right?
Yeah.
Because he's that important to us, right? So it's like, sometimes it's that. So that's not wrong to think that at all. And Jaylen Brown has felt like a Robin this whole time, right?
Indeed.
And their partnership. So again, those are all right mindsets to have. It's just now we need to maybe open ourselves to changing the narrative of maybe when it matters most, Jaylen Brown shows up, Jason Tatum does not.
Well, that's because Tatum has the luxury of having a Jaylen Brown. There are other guys that were A's.
I like that.
Don't have that other guy. Like forever, you have James Harden, for instance, can just never get past. He's the A. He's the Batman. But the Rise Robins have always kind of never took him past. He can't do it himself. No one else.
I'm glad you brought up James Harden because I thought this was going to a weird New York Knicks slant. I was like, oh God, how did we get here?
No.
No, we don't really have RA. We're good. And I think he can get us there.
No. It's so funny you say that because the one time James Harden did have that guy got injured. And then they proceeded to lose to Golden State.
And then it became
because remember, they had Golden State, a healthy, well, not healthy because Durant was out in that first round, but, everybody else was there. They had Golden State on the ropes. Then Chris Paul went down like he always does, and Harden wasn't enough.
I feel like it still wasn't going to be enough, if we're being honest.
Maybe not to win a championship, but remember, they had Golden State on the ropes. They really did. Chris Paul was a difference maker in that series, and then when he went down,
Paul was the difference maker, but luck is not in his favor.
No,
it's not. The injury.
I don't know what he did, but the basketball gods are like, all right, whatever you did, you will never win.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I need you guys watching. Is it Clipped or whatever that is?
It's insanity.
Yeah, because it made me think about it. Because remember when they were the guys playing Chris Paul. And he was just doing all that emotion and like, we gonna win a championship. I'm coming over here to do this. And then we're talking about it this morning, like, bro, you might never win a championship.
That's crazy.
You're going to the Hall of Fame easy, but you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is so crazy that you say that, Prime, because you think about that Clippers team and you think about their upside. It was tremendously high.
It was.
And then it was just like it plateaued as fast as it grew, right? Like it was just like grand opening, grand closing, like every time with that team, man.
They're holding DeAndre Jordan hostage and in the crib.
That was such a wild. I remember that live.
Yeah, that needs to be in the show. or
That was
throw the whole
such a
show
wild
away.
time.
I would have loved to have seen that, like, been a fly on the wall, especially when you hear all the reports that supposedly him and Chris Paul didn't get along.
Right.
Then all of a sudden they got him holed up in the crib. No, you staying. We gonna talk about this, brother. You're not going anywhere.
Hey, it lets you know how much Chris wanted to win. Chris said, "Forget ego. I need you, dog. Like, please, man. Please stay."
Hey, what we think about Luka's performance so far?
It's tough because it's
putting up the numbers, right? I mean, but
he's not horrible, but I do think look, I'm not an excuse guy, but I do think it matters that first time in an NBA Finals, right? Not everybody can go out there and just put up insane numbers, regardless of the team's success or not. This is a learning moment. I mean, I don't think any of us don't think Luka can't get back here. I mean, this was the best chance, but I won't say. Well, I only say that, Ditch, because you never know. They could make a crazy move we never saw coming, and now
Fair.
So
it happens.
But I mean, if you're saying face value, then I don't disagree, Ditch. But I don't know. Sometimes it's just too bright. The lights are just too bright. NBA Finals, Kyrie is somewhat struggling, so they're looking for you to be their savior. And sometimes it's a lot, And I'm not saying that's the reason for him, but maybe.
I mean, he was looking for that whistle at the wrong time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, the lights are too bright. Everybody always takes that the lights are too bright to mean like, oh, you're not performing, you're not getting your stats.
Mm.
But I think in this case, the lights are too bright, or in the fact of you're getting your numbers. Of course, I think Luka was going to always get his, but you're making dumb mistakes.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't have fouled out last game, or game 3 rather. You shouldn't have fouled out that game. There are things where, what was it? I think, was it game 2 where he had like 7 turnovers? Like, you shouldn't have had that many turnovers in the NBA Finals. You're doing stuff that's dumb because I think you're looking at it like, well, I gotta make this moment. I gotta have my the Nike moment, essentially. Like, I need to know the greatest lives here moment, and I think it's affecting him that way.
I think he needs to remember what got him to the NBA Finals, and it's the fact that team showed up for him.
Yeah.
So very early in the game, get that team involved, get everybody touches, get everybody going, and then trust me, it'll come fourth quarter time, and that team will freeze up, and they're gonna look at you, and then that's your time to just go ballistic. No, because I mean, teams like that are they're all role players, right? Like, it's just Kyrie and Luka, and then it's just really good role players on that team. So there does come certain moments where they're kind of just looking at you like, okay, save us now, right? So it's like, you'll get those moments to go play hero ball, but you don't need to start the game trying to do hero ball. Like, that's not what got you here. What got you here is you making PJ Washington look like, all right, this man should be getting good money out here, right? Like, you making guys look like they're about to have good contract years upcoming, So it's like, stick with that. Stick with what got you here. And then trust me, fourth quarter time, hero ball will be calling your name. And then, you can go do Luka things and have those Nike moments and, all those final moments and everything. But I think sometimes, like you were saying, Didge, players don't slow the game down mentally. It's very fast in their head. So they're like, I got to do this. I got to do that. Slow it down, especially because you're the guy with the ball in your hand all the time, right? So it's like you're literally the guy that can slow it down. You don't have to go so fast. So just my advice to Luka would just be remember what got you there. That's it.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Windhorst talking, I think after game 2, was talking about Luka's he's having a problem with the officials, and his relationship with the officials is hurting the team as well. Mm-hmm. And that's why, the way he talks to them, the complaining, and especially in those first 2 games where, it was somewhere close, that, Luka's not going to get those calls. that he needs to get, and then vice versa, he might get called for a foul or two that they might let slide. And I thought that was pretty interesting, but more and more I think about it, I think he's probably right.
I don't think he's wrong, but I also think as I think Adam Silver should definitely have a conversation with the refs after the season, and let them know, guys, I know you're doing your job. I know the rules are the rules. I get it. But in the NBA Finals, you can't foul out Luka Doncic. I'm sorry. I mean, unless he was punching someone in their rib cage as they're laying the ball up, you do not. Even then, you swallow that whistle. You look at PJ Washington and go, "It was you. That you." It's like, no. We saw Luka. No, it's PJ. Like, take this foul for me. Because it's just one of those things where it's like, who knows how exciting that game could have been had Luka not fouled out, right? But, you know, like Didge said, responsibility is on Luka. Don't make stupid mistakes. But I'm sorry. This is a league that's always protected star players in moments like that. Because you rarely see star players get fouled out in the NBA Finals. It's rare. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's rare. You kind of swallow your whistle on a couple of those, especially if they were ticky-tacky, like they weren't even like, you know, anything crazy or anything like that. I think that should be a conversation Adam Silver has with these guys. I'm sorry. In the NBA Finals, you can't do that. I'm sorry. You just can't.
I mean, honestly, all playoffs, if we're being honest, there's been a lot of weird calls. I mean, hell, all season, to be honest. But, you know, we're talking playoffs and the finals right now. This year especially, it just seems like the refs have been – they kind of want to make them the moment when it's like, you know who we here to see. We're not here to see – what is it? Tony Brothers, whatever his name is. Like we here to see Giannis, Luka.
Fake Gucci Mane. What's
yeah,
that
like we're not here to see y'all. And I mean, it just feels like basketball refs, because we can take this over to the WNBA.
Right.
Basketball refs are out here acting like they're the main draw, and it's really weird. It's really weird.
It makes you think somebody's gambling the way that they're reffing these games.
Man,
it really does.
Oh, you heard something?
But no, I mean, you're definitely right. There's a lot of times even you even see the refs, like someone might taunt, and it's like a harmless taunt, you know, like it's a playground taunt, and they're giving you a technical for that. It's like, you guys got to clean that up, man. I'm sorry, but that is part of the game, right? Now, I'm not talking about if a guy's on the ground, you can stand over him. That's extra. But if you want to flex on him, you know, let him flex on him. Talk a little bit. We, as fans, we love that. Remember, Prime, when baseball was making a big deal about flipping the bat?
Yep.
It's like, bro, as fans, we love that. Like, that's like, it's cool, you know? I get it. It might get someone a pitch to the head, but it's worth it, you know? Let them do what they do. Like, we like flipping the bat. So, for me, it's like they got to clean a few things up. Adam Silver does with these refs, for sure. They're becoming divas, and it's like, that's a problem. That's a problem. I should know the refs' names, and I feel like I know too many of them, because I'm like, who is this guy? I got to make sure he don't ref games anymore for the Knicks. Like, who is this? So whenever you get to that feeling, it's like, maybe there's a problem.
I agree. I tell you something else with Luka too, guys. Which nobody ever thought he was a great defensive player, but man, have you seen the numbers in this game with him defensively?
Oh,
yeah. I was watching. It was like Get Up, I think it was, and they had the NBA analysts go in, and they were showing like the blow by percentage of players blowing by Luka, and the minimum criteria was at least 10 drives, right? And they were talking about in the entire playoffs. So they were talking against OKC, it was like 59%. The Clippers was like 65%. And the Celtics in this series is 67%, which are the highest numbers ever.
Oh, my God.
Of a player at least 10 possessions. That's crazy.
Nah, that is insane. But I think that's a league-wide problem. I see too many stars that are playing. Go ahead, Didge.
No, I was gonna say they said the same thing about Tatum too. It was like the two biggest stars of this series. Why are they two turnstiles?
I always love guys like that, because it's so funny, because when they do it, you kind of think to yourself, okay, they're doing it so they exert more offensively than they do defensively, right? They're not defensive-minded guys. But then you watch them and you're like, you didn't have the best offensive game either. You could have maybe slid your feet once. Like, you could have shuffled your feet a couple of times, man. This wasn't your greatest offensive game either. Like, if you don't play good defense and you in the game with like 15 points and you're a star, that's a problem. That's a problem. You got to do something. Yeah. You better have had like 15 rebounds or something.
Luka like, getting fouled out of the game was his defense. That's what he's trying to tell you. I was trying.
Maybe that's why he got fouled up that next game. He saw those and was like, all right, I got you. I'm about to be out here hacking.
He took it personal. They got fouled out. Like, fuck.
He was like, I don't think I understand this defense thing.
Show that to me again.
Yeah, you guys are not rewarding me for playing this good defense. It's like, Luka, you're a hacking.
This is why I don't play D, bro.
You punch somebody. That's not defense.
Hey, he's over there talking to Jason Kidd in timeout. Did we go over this in practice? Did we talk about this?
He's like, I could have sworn you said PJ was supposed to guard Jason Tatum. Why are you asking me to do that?
Why do we have 7-footers if I gotta defend this guy?
Right.
Hey, Kyrie, you heard him, bro. You heard him.
Yeah. Kyrie, you gonna play defense too? He's like, I am. Drew Holiday won't be getting 30. It's like, man, he don't be scoring like that. That don't count. It's like, just saying.
Help. Kyrie's 6'2". I mean, the backcourt is at least Kyrie tries sometimes.
He does more than he ever has before. I'll give him that.
So we convinced this thing is over, right?
No,
we're not. History can be made.
I mean, It doesn't look good.
I mean, you guys can't keep telling me Tatum is the flopper that he is, and not expect me to think he'll start flopping at some point, right? So unless Brown's going to average 40, which he might, then I think it's very possible that Dallas can turn this around. All it takes is one game from Dallas to where those role players have a really good game, right?
Yeah.
Now you could say it was this game that they were just blowing. They just blew out the Celtics, but I feel like everybody had a really good game that was in the Dallas Mavericks uniform. So you need that. Points.
You
said what?
So Tim Hardaway had 15 points.
Yeah, see, that's how you know.
That's how you know. Like that third, I think like that third leading scorer for most of the season. It's like
Tim Hardaway was the sixth man for that team for most of the year, and then it fell out of. I don't know what happened. This playoffs, he got hurt and then never came back. It was like they were playing better without him.
I was about to say that's usually what it is when you get hurt and they're like, "Man, we're winning without you." It kind of lets you think, "All right, maybe." Get
going from 14 points a game to 4 from regular season to postseason is insane.
Bro. He was
his minutes got cut in half. You're right.
You don't got minutes.
He was averaging 27 minutes a game in the regular season. It went down to 13.
This is bad.
Jason Kidd said he showing up for practice late or something. I don't know.
Right.
Jesus Christ. Brown and Tatum combined for 25 points the last game.
But no, to your question of whether this is over, my Boston hate won't allow me to say yes, or won't allow me to say no or yes. Like I can't go. Oh yeah, Boston got this next game. It won't allow me. So it's got to at least go back to Dallas.
I just want it to be over.
No, I'm with Ditch. If you think for a second I thought the Pacers were gonna win a game, no, my hate wouldn't allow it. It wouldn't allow it. Those words would have never came out of my mouth. So, Didge, I appreciate the honesty. And you know what? I'm doubling down. Dallas and 7. I'm doubling down.
To be fair, that's what I said last week.
And you still might get
could be right. You're the only one that can still be right.
It's not over. Watch. Tomorrow comes. Dallas loses by 32. We're like,
oh, God. Oh, my. I'm not watching the draft if that happened. I don't want to hear them. I don't want to hear them hype up Dallas or hype up Boston during the draft.
I tell you what was interesting. I saw something that said so the last time that Boston won it was June was 6 months. Was June is 6 months. So it was 6/17 back in 2008, the 17th of June.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is the 17th of June. Guess what one of the area guess what one of the area codes is in Boston?
What?
Oh, the NBA is scripted.
Oh wow.
Luka, a lot of people were calling you Baby Bird. This is where you make that come true. You got to go out there and drop 60. You got to get a 60 game.
No, it's going to really mess it up.
They lost on purpose.
61. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be crazy.
One with 7 assists.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
there you go.
Y'all been asking for Tatum's big game. Here it is. 61 points, 7 assists. There it is.
God. I mean, I like Tatum, but even that would disgust me. I'd hate the man after that.
Who was guarding him?
I'm gonna go.
No, if he gets that many points, everybody just said we're tripling Jaylen Brown. They would just say let Tatum just do whatever he does. That's crazy.
Hey, let's move on to the next one. The next one, I don't know if you guys saw this. There's a lot of things. We know how Kevin Durant is when it comes to social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's very sensitive. So, and we've seen, tons of times where he's come back and he's barked at players, not players, but people in the media, fans of the NBA, talking about his legacy. So it got me to thinking. Do you guys think? Because we've talked about this several times over several shows. Some of the shows I've been on with you guys, my show, whatever. Can he do anything to change the way people think about him? Can he change his legacy?
Yes.
What would it take if that's the if that's the question?
Going to OKC right now and winning a championship with those young kids. Only way. That's it. Only way. Because before, and you know what? I won't even say what I was going to say. I'll say this. If he had won a championship in Brooklyn, it would have helped his legacy. If he had went to the Knicks and won them a championship, it would have helped his legacy. If he had gone to any team not named Golden State, it would have helped his legacy. Because think about it. Durant's legacy would not have been defined by a ring. We don't look down on Charles Barkley. We don't look down on Carmelo Anthony. Now, do we put Barkley next to Jordan or Melo next to LeBron? No. But we respect them for what they did for the game. Durant would have been looked at the same way, right? Maybe a better scorer than both of them, right? Maybe a better defender than both of them. But we would have at least respected that you tried to get it the right way, right? But you decided to go to Golden State. Then we got over it. Not over it in the sense of we won't hold it against you. We got over it to we just didn't care anymore. Then you double down and you're like, I'm going to go with Kyrie. We're going to hold hands and we're going to go to Brooklyn. And we're like, okay, well, win a championship. You couldn't do it. And honestly, you helped Giannis create a better legacy than your legacy.
We love
going
to see
Brooklyn.
It. We love to see it.
So for me, it's just the idea of, and then you know what, Prime? For anyone that might have been thinking to themselves, you know what? All right, you did what you did in Golden State. All right, go live your life. You then said, I'm going to double down and go team Bradley Beal and Devin Booker because the Nets didn't work out. That was even worse. I didn't think you could get worse. That was worse. So for me, going home, winning a championship there, even if it's just one, that is the only way people can at least respectfully look at your career and go, we at least got to give you that OKC one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, what a story that would be, too. And it's funny you said that because I know most people can't read what's on the pick. But what's funny is this guy is Just Phil on social media agreed with you, right? And he says the only way KD can redeem his legacy is if he returns to the Thunder and wins them their first ever championship. And he puts LeBron style, and he says all will be forgiven. And he tags KD and say, we good. Of course, KD being KD says at the bottom, you ain't God. Go get ready for work.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw this in real time. I retweeted KD's response with tears because that's a hilarious response. You ain't got go get ready for work. That is a funny response.
Crazy. It's crazy. And then here's Myles Garrett. KD broke the lead. He took the easy way out. Me, I'm too competitive to try and ride on somebody's coattails to get a W. So
okay.
It ain't just.
First of all, I don't like Myles Garrett saying that. Football is drastically different than basketball. It is almost very rare that one player can dictate that much in football. And Myles Garrett, we'll see. Okay, we'll see how when you're in year 15, and them Browns still ain't get you farther than they did last year. Different. If you don't try to go play with Patrick Mahomes, we'll see Myles Garrett. Okay, I'm just saying. I hate when people say that I'm too competitive. All right, let's see it. Let's see if you're willing to go down a loser. You'll go down as one of the greatest defensive ends, or what was he specifically?
He's the end.
Yeah. To play, but come on, man. Come on. I mean, I get what he's saying, but come on, man.
But also, KD's not the first to go to. Granted, that Warriors team was ridiculous. Right. I get it.
For most wins in the season.
I get it. That's what I said. I understand that.
And then added Durant.
I understand that. But let's not act like KD is the first to go team up with all-stars. Hell, right. He was the second in that era.
Right. Right. The Godfather LeBron did it.
Like LeBron did it. That Boston Big Three team.
LeBron going back.
That was it.
And winning in Cleveland is what saved his legacy.
That's fine, but either way, we can't act like he didn't go to a team to essentially team up with two other all-stars. We can't act like Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett didn't go to a team to team up with two other all-stars. Like it happens.
They got traded there.
You think they didn't ask for it? Like
I'm just saying, they didn't free willy-nilly went over there.
Yeah, they did. The amount of power. Well, Ray Allen might not have had that amount of power, but the amount of power Kevin Garnett had in that Minnesota team, he went and said, "Look, trade me where I want to be traded."
I don't doubt it, but I'm just saying it wasn't. If he wasn't a free agent when that happened, you had to lose people to get him. Is what I'm saying. You didn't just get him for nothing, you know.
They got him for pennies.
Pennies. I don't even remember who they gave up, honestly.
I don't remember who they gave up either.
Yeah. I was trying to think when you said that. I was like, who was in that?
Well, wasn't that the KD draft?
They gave up Ryan Gomez. It might be Ryan Gomes, actually.
Gomes. It's Gomes.
Ryan Gomes and Gerald Green.
Oh my God.
They gave up pennies.
What were the picks?
I think the picks might have ended up getting them Gerald Green. It don't really.
I think that was the draft for KD. I don't remember for exactly. Because I remember what's his name? Greg Oden was on that. Because Greg Oden. I remember, like, man, Boston gets Greg Oden. That's pretty good. Because I think they were up there, and then they ended up getting Jeff Green because I think they fell, something like that, some weird shit.
It was a future first round pick
because Jeff Green and KD ended up going to Seattle because Seattle ended up picking KD, and then Jeff Green got traded to Seattle, and that was because of Ray Allen. I remember. But
look, man, it ain't you got Ryan Gomes and Gerald Green. Like you
that had to be pick heavy because it's not. I mean, that was really nothing.
They ended up getting the 2009 first round pick, who they got Johnny Flynn for. So again, nothing.
Well, wasted that pick, to be fair.
And then they also got another pick who they ended up trading to Memphis. So they ended up getting nothing for. They got Dante Cunningham for that pick. That's who they ended up trading to Memphis.
But it was nothing. Look, Minnesota fucked that up on their own. That year they drafted 2 point guards. Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. This back to back. It was stupid. I was the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. That's on them.
It's crazy to think about how long ago that was, though.
07.
That's a long time ago.
Gerald Green, he's almost 40 now. I seen him last night in the Big Three.
Yeah, he's in the Big Three now.
The Big Three.
See?
You know, that with Cuban them, man.
Yeah, he's old. I mean, we old. I'm old. Like,
Yeah, but no, he could definitely change his like. It's so funny.
Yeah, for sure.
I was listening to Didge before I had to step away for a quick second, and it's so funny because the worst thing for me is not joining a team as great as Golden State. The worst thing that he did was just joining a team that had just beat him, regardless of Golden State's record. Like they could have had an average record. And
I bring that up because that don't help my argument.
Yeah, I'm like, they beat you, and then you said, "All right, can't beat them, join them. I'm there. I'm with you again." Like to me, that was. But I always say, Prime, from a basketball standpoint, I never faulted it from a basketball standpoint because there was no better fit for you, right? Where you didn't have to. The workload wasn't as heavy. The responsibility wasn't as heavy, right? And clearly we know that those are things he doesn't want. He doesn't want the responsibility on him. He doesn't want the lights and everything. He just wants to, quote unquote, hoop. There was no other team you could have gone to. I mean, unless you went and played with LeBron, that could have given you the clear lane to just go hoop, right? So for me, from a basketball standpoint, where people are constantly telling you in the media, you need to win a ring to matter. You need to win a ring to matter. We then can't fault the guy that said, all right, well, I'm going to go find a way to go win a ring. But from a standpoint of legacy, I can't put you over somebody who won a championship with their team, and you had to go join 3 future Hall of Famers in their maximum prime, right? Like in the height of their prime, and join them to go get your rings. That's where it's from a legacy standpoint that I fault him, but not from a pure basketball standpoint. Because if he says he just wants to hoop, there was nowhere else to go where you could fit right in and just be Kevin Durant.
And I think the reason he left is because they reminded him of that, especially Draymond. Like you came here, you want to hear because of us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you know what made it worse, Joel? You know what made it worse?
What?
You know what makes Durant's legacy worse when you look back at it 10 years from now? If you left Golden State, right, and they never went to a finals or won a championship again, your legacy would have been, the last time y'all were relevant, I was on your team. I was what helped keep y'all relevant. The fact that they went out and won a championship will always look back as, we now can't say you did shit for them. Right now, I will say Durant going there helped Steph's legacy. It did help Steph's legacy, but you can't say the Warriors needed you because they won one before you. They won one after you. And you hadn't won one before them and currently have not won one since. So it's like the problem seems to be Kevin Durant. So, because Steph is thinking to himself, I'm good. I got one before you, got one after you.
Leaving to go to Brooklyn, now choosing Brooklyn, a whole other issue altogether. But leaving to go to New York in general wasn't a bad idea. To go there, win a championship in New York is huge. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry that it didn't work out for you, but
the way you said "I'm sorry" as you smiled and laughed was so crazy.
Because you have to understand, like you also decided to go where the least amount of pressure again. You got the right idea, but you're like, I'm gonna take where no one gives a fuck if I win or lose. Instead.
Right. And
in the biggest shitty biggest, I get all the praise, but honestly, only the Nets fans care if I win or lose, and no one. How many are there? It's like
that is very true. That's not wrong. As soon as he left the Nets, everyone was more hard pressed about where he went than the idea that he left.
Right.
The only props that I give him in all of this, when we talk about the Golden State thing, is I'm always that person. If you're going to do something like that, at least be the man, And granted, I do understand that the players that he had around him in Golden State and the experience, but he did get 2 finals. He got the MVP both times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he did. I think he was a finals MVP.
No, I think you're right. Yeah.
So I'll give him that. Just don't go over there for the ride. If you're gonna show up, show out. which he did.
I do believe one of the final MVPs was fraudulent, though. The first
That's
one
what I was
he
just
won,
going to check.
yeah, the first one he won was in a series where the leading scorer, rebounder, and assister was all LeBron James. LeBron out-rebounded both teams, led an assist on both teams, led in points per game on both teams. But I thought he should have gotten that MVP.
To be fair, they've only given the finals MVP to the losing player once.
And guess what? Should have been twice.
Yes,
should have been twice.
No doubt.
Yes, and that was the perfect time to bring that up.
How good were you got the MVP and lost?
Let me ask you this, Paige. Your honest opinion. If you were a voter, would you have given it to Durant over LeBron, knowing that LeBron was carrying that massively heavy load alone? Because remember, there was no Kyrie. He was doing this with JR, Sean, those guys.
They'd be LeBron.
I mean, I'm just saying, and I don't mean fraudulent like Durant didn't show up. The man hit I'll never forget that shot he hit over LeBron from almost the logo. Like, that was the most disrespectful shot.
Don't get me wrong. He was the key factor of why they got past
100%.
I mean,
LeBron leading in 3 statistical categories is insane.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's tough because I would have to go back and look at the only other time that it happened. Like, how much was Jerry West balling on them? We obviously know he's a phenomenal player.
Real.
Yeah, because I mean, like, was Jerry West just out there looking just that dominant? Because it is insane to give y'all lost, but you're the best player. You're the most valuable.
Yeah, this is sort of a blowout.
It's like if you, I feel like in the finals MVP, no, that series, neither one of their series won more than 5.
Oh, look at that.
So that's why I'm like, if you're the most dominant, if you're the most valuable to your team, and you couldn't get them 2 victories, what we really talking about here?
Come on, Didge. You gotta go back and look at that Cleveland.
I remember the series.
Do you remember the infamous LeBron pointing to J.R. Smith like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like, he had to deal with that, Didge.
I get you. But it's also like, you couldn't get them 2 victories. You couldn't will them to 2 victories.
I tell you this,
and that's nothing against LeBron, because LeBron was dominant. But it's how clearly you are the most valuable to that team, but to the finals overall, you got to be able to get them at least more than 1 victory at this point.
But to your point, that's why it frustrated me even more, because you can't tell me that bad Cleveland team, that if you took Durant off that Golden State still couldn't have won in 5 games. So if you're talking about most valuable, Durant couldn't have been more valuable than LeBron. If you took him off, Golden State still could have won that series, whether it was 5 or 7. So to me, you take LeBron off, they might be done in 1. Like the officials might just say, "There's no way we're showing 3 part of these games. There's just no way." Like, no LeBron, just take it off TV.
I'm looking back at the year that Jerry West won Finals MVP. That series went 7, and that game 7 was a 2-point loss. That series was that close, where it was obviously they're not going to have the box score to let me know if it was like a.
Who was his running mate?
That year he had Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor. Those are 2 other Hall of Famers.
Those are amazing players.
But that's what I'm saying.
Running mate?
If he's playing so well that this went down to, let's presume it was a last-second shot. I don't know if he was down 4 and they sort of brought it to the 2 at the end. But this is to the point where this series was so close that it could have went any way. Boston, of course. It was the 70s. It was LA and Boston like almost every year. But that series was so close that it went down to, let's say, the last 2 minutes, and it could have went either way the entire time. And he's head and shoulders above everybody else. I get why they're saying you were the best player on the court. You were the most valuable to either team on the court. Boston was just that stacked versus a team that lost in 5 or swept. I can't remember if that was the year they got swept or if that was the year they lost in 5. One year they got swept.
Oh,
1 year they got swept, 1 year they lost in 5.
That might have been
So
the
it's
sweep
like-
year, maybe.
And so it's like you couldn't even get your team 2 victories. And if it is the sweep year, y'all couldn't even get 1. I can't say that but I can't say you're the most valuable to both teams on the court.
Man.
It's tough. I just think you got to have at least victories in this case.
Mm-hmm. I'm calling LeBron. I'm calling LeBron and I'm calling Shannon Sharp.
You ain't calling up.
And to think Jerry West only won 1 championship.
I know, that's the crazy part.
That
He has 1 championship and 1 Finals MVP, and they're not in the same year.
Who?
Yeah.
Chamberlain?
Jerry West.
Oh, Jerry West.
Yeah.
Because watching what was it, the Lakers, the dynasty one, the winning time. When they were making a big deal about like everything going on there, I didn't realize they only had the last championship was in '72, and they hadn't won since the '50s. I'm like, so it makes the whole difference. Showtime was huge for them winning.
Those Boston years of the '60s, I think Boston won like.
Well, they were.
I think they won from like 60 to like 70, like every year or something like that. Like, it was insane.
Knicks won in 70 and 73. It was or 70. Yeah, I think it was like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was this. So imagine.
Interesting. But speaking of the Lakers, what do y'all think about JJ Redick, man? This talk of JJ Redick has interviewed for the Lakers job. Like, I'm kind of trying to figure out how. Like how. Now, I'm not saying that JJ Redick cannot be a good coach, but the credentials aren't there. I mean, we know him as outside of being a great, very good college basketball player, 2-time, I think, ACC player of the year, got his number.
Amazing college player.
He came in, played for about 5 or 6 organizations in the NBA. And then other than that, we know him from broadcasting and podcasting. Mm. So I'm trying, y'all let me know, like, how does he, I know he Bron's boy, they got a show together. But is he sleeping with Jeannie Buss? Like, is he sleeping with Jeannie Buss? Like, how does this, what's up with this, man?
No, you just answered it. They're looking for ways to keep LeBron there. Even though we all believe LeBron will stay regardless, they're looking for ways to keep LeBron there. He's, wine buddies with LeBron. But I'm going to tell you this. I hope he gets the job. And I'm going to tell you why I hope he gets the job. Anything that prevents the Lakers from dropping banners, I'm all game for. I'm all game for. I'm right there. I'm so happy for it. So JJ, if you can add to the Lakers not winning recently, please do. Please do, JJ. I beg you. Please do.
I like JJ a lot.
I didn't say anything wrong. I didn't say anything wrong about JJ. I'm just saying
how I feel about JJ. I like JJ.
Yeah, I like JJ too.
I like JJ. I always wanted him to be on the Knicks. Never got a chance, unfortunately. I don't think this is a good idea for him. Personally, for him, he, like you said, he doesn't have the pedigree. He hasn't been an assistant coach. He hasn't been through the process. This is literally just coming in and becoming almost like what happened with Derek Fisher, right? They just kind of threw him into right in there as a coach. I'm not saying he can't do it, because I think overall, if he really wants to be a coach, he could be a really good coach. But this being his first job is a lot. That's a lot. And dealing with LeBron and all that, there's a lot of pressure. Because, he did get the 1 championship, but there's always going to be the bubble. I know people are going to say it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, it's always going to linger, the bubble championship, right? And they fired that coach. That's how important it was to them. It's just, again, for JJ's sake, I don't know. I don't love it. But for, like what Jawan was saying, to prevent the Lakers from winning ever again, I'm happy with that. Yeah. They want to do that.
This is interesting because this is like a microcosm of the NBA. This is like the only sport I know where a player can, obviously they played, but then they'll retire and just sort of sit out for a few years, and all of a sudden you are thrust to be a head coach. Like Derek Fisher, I think is the most wild. Like, I'm glad you brought him up because
JK too.
Trash.
Derek Fisher, his is the most interesting because he was on Oklahoma City the year before he was the Knicks head coach. Like, the man retired and then said, okay, my post-job thing is going to be head coach for the New York Knicks. That was an interesting thing But yeah, that's just sort of what the NBA does. Like you said, Steve Kerr, he didn't have anything prior to becoming coach at Golden State. He just sort of walked in as, I'm going to be head coach. Jason Kidd did the same thing.
Miami's coach.
But Spoelstra wasn't a former player. I'm saying these former players.
Former player. I thought you were just going by no experience. Gotcha.
Well, no experience. Yeah, you can open up to a lot with that with no experience. But for some reason, the NBA, they're just like, you played, we'll give you a chance. It's really interesting. So like when they were saying with Redick, I was just like, okay, he's the next in a long line of this.
Fair.
It's crazy. I think this is a bad setup for him to what you were saying, Joel. I think he could be a good coach.
I agree.
But this Lakers team is not set up for success. Yeah. And the coach is going to always be the first domino to fall whenever they're not getting these expectations. So I think he's sort of setting himself, if he does want to go into coaching beyond this, like, I don't know if it's just like, hey, I'm helping my guy out. Like you said, he's LeBron's guy. They might just be like, all right, I got you. I'm just here so you at least know we're on the same page.
Right.
But if he truly does want to go into coaching, this probably wasn't the best first step.
I mean, to be fair also to JJ, if you ever hear him talk, like when he's on First Take, he seems like he understands the analytics of the game. And in today's time, you have to understand the analytics of the game.
For sure.
So I do want to also give some credence to the idea of if he's even interested in this job, it's because he sees something that he might be able to do differently than what Darvin Ham and Frank Vogel and those guys were able to do. Whether or not he can actually do it remains to be seen. He has to be seeing something that he thinks he could do differently. So
I just feel bad because I'm like, man, it just doesn't see. It just seems like it's going to be set up to fall. And
you can only feel but so bad for a guy that's wanting the job.
Yeah, he wants it. It's a Laker head coaching job. That's one.
You get to coach LeBron. You don't pass.
It's a good job. It's a good job. In LA, the Lakers, you get to play with LeBron is your best. Don't get me wrong, it's the end of his career, LeBron, but still, like one of the best players in the league. And AD, it's just you're like, God,
when AD's healthy.
When AD plays.
But how does the team, look at LeBron though? If this thing goes left, so to say JJ gets hired, they know that's Bron's boy. They got a podcast together. I guess they'll probably stop doing the podcast if they get the job. But
they might not.
Yeah. That's simple. You know what I'm saying? Like I think this thing go horribly left, man. I think, I think internally this thing could go horribly left.
Like I said, he wants the job if he's being interviewed for it. I doubt the Lakers went to him first. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he probably put out a feeler. And no matter what LeBron says, no matter what any star player says, no coach gets fired. No, that's not true because I think Giannis lost Jason Kidd and he wanted Jason Kidd to stay. But I think Giannis just didn't have the power to stop it. That he would now. But usually players with power 100% dictate whether or not a coach stays or goes. Come on, so when LeBron says I don't have anything to do with coaching or anything like that, it's like, LeBron, I saw you check out of a game and then walk back into a game, and I didn't see Darvin Ham look at you once. So I'm like, dog, don't tell me that you stay in your place. Like, come on, man. Don't lie. Just don't lie to me is all I ask. That's all I ask.
And to answer your question about how the rest of the Lakers are going to take it, like if this does go left, which I feel like we're all in agreement that it probably will, I think they knew what they signed up for. I honestly do think that the rest of the team is going to be like, damn, well, we're still in LA though. And that's just sort of like, I think at least until LeBron is gone, the Lakers are looking at it like, well, we know that there are still a ton of eyes on us no matter what. Mm-hmm. We just kind of got to weather it. If we can win, we can win. This is what we're here for. But if not, at least we're still in LA. At least we're not, no shade to the Clippers, at least we're not them. Where they are still, no matter how bad they are, They are always forever LA's. Hell, this even the show, the probably the biggest shine on the Clippers in forever is the story of LA's other team.
Yeah,
because that's just how they are.
Oh, they always will be.
Yeah.
Best thing that could happen for JJ is if LeBron decides not to return. That would be the best thing, because then if you're JJ, you could sell everything that has value for draft compensation or whatever, and try to rebuild that team. So, that would be the best thing for him. Start from scratch. That's your team. You built your team, and whatever they do or don't do.
He don't job with LeBron not coming back. They might hire him and then LeBron say he's not coming back. Oh well, never mind. You're actually fired. We actually never signed that contract from our side.
Speaking of that, though, speaking of that, both of these guys, what they could become unrestricted. You think either one of these guys leaving LA?
Yes.
Paul George
has a
I mean, did we not see that mean side eye Joel Embiid gave Paul George during the panel? He did that very heavy, like, "Hey, you come here, help me, please." I just think too many people want him, and they're gonna offer the world. I mean, somebody just came out with a report that Paul George and the Clippers aren't on the same page right now. And to be honest with you, they can't be. You're paying two players that refuse to be healthy. I mean, at this point, it's just like, I can't pay both of you to not play games. One of you's gotta go. You know what I'm saying?
It was always a weird mix, in my opinion, anyway. But hey,
what with Kawhi?
I guess that's what Kawhi
No,
wanted.
to me, I thought it was a good match. I just thought the only thing that was bad about putting them together is that they don't stay healthy. But when they are healthy, they could be dangerous.
But this year, surprisingly, they actually did a pretty good job staying on the court.
They're most healthy
until it mattered.
And then,
I was going to say.
Kawhi just got hurt.
I swear.
Right.
No, that's fair. I was going to say, because I swear, I was seeing. I felt like I was seeing them both play, and it was like middle of March. I was like, "Damn, where Kawhi been at?" And I looked, and he been hurt. He just been hurt.
I mean, it's weird. I mean, they play one of them out of position all the time because they play small.
Yeah, they're both the three.
It's like right, and like one plays the 2, one plays the 3, or one plays the 2, one plays the 4. Well, like this year, it's been really Kawhi plays the 4, but like it's weird. It's weird. I don't know. I never liked it.
Their game complements each other. I truly believe the game complements each other.
I have issues with playing having two superstars that play similar position. Now, obviously, it works in Boston,
and it works in Dallas.
Yeah, you ready to say?
Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah, but they're so Luka's 6'7". Like that's why it's like they play the same position. But that man's huge. Now I don't defend like he's 6'7".
But also the truth is neither one of them are point guards. One's a small forward, the other one's a shooting guard. I swear to God, Kyrie.
Luka could pass. It's not like, and they both.
Oh no! I don't mean he doesn't have the ability to be a point guard. I'm just saying his legit position should never be point guard. The man's not a point guard. He's not a point guard.
They're both guards. That's why.
Yes.
Especially this year, it's been very much a guard. It's hard to like peg one person as this or that, even though there are players that you can say, yeah, it's a pure point guard. Just there's so little of that nowadays because there's so many combo guards.
Only two, really, in my opinion.
Bobby?
I think there's only two in the NBA today.
Pure point guards?
Yeah, Halliburton and Chris Paul. That's it. Oh no, I'm sorry, Melo.
Melo's good. Melo's another big motherfucker. 6'7".
He is, but that man is one of the most gifted passers.
I
forgot about him because he don't play. So
yeah, I know.
It's when he plays, there's 4. But when he don't play, there's 3.
All right, guys. Last thing we got today, we're gonna jump from the NBA over to the NFL and the gaming world. So the Madden cover came out maybe about a week ago. I think Adam Schefter was the first person that I saw break the story that this year it is going to be CMC. He gets the Madden cover.
Damn, is that on Dallas? Damn, that's disrespectful.
That's the Raiders.
I think that's the Raiders, man. I think,
Okay, my bad.
I'm looking. I think it's the Raiders. I hope it's the Raiders.
Yeah, it's the Raiders.
Oh, it's because my glasses are super foggy. It's making that look silver and blue. I'm so sorry, man. Let me take these glasses off. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I never say that he's not deserving because we know that he is one of the most dynamic playmakers that we've seen in football. And of course, he was one of the reasons his team made it to the Super Bowl last year. But do you guys think they got it right? And even if you do and if you don't, it doesn't matter. Who would you have liked to have seen if it wasn't CMC?
I think
First off, sorry to the 49ers fans. Well, another lost season.
I ain't mad at that.
Go ahead, Joe. I just wanted to get that sorry out there first.
Well, no, I mean Patrick Mahomes and those guys have done a great job showcasing that Madden curse don't affect them not one bit.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Brady, because remember Brady shared the cover with Mahomes and then went to play Mahomes in said Super Bowl. I think either that year or the year before or the year after. To me, I don't think this can be a right or wrong. Only because I've never known Madden's criteria for this. I just assumed if you won the Super Bowl, you were the cover athlete. Oh, that's just what my assumption is usually. I
mean, they had Peyton Hillis on it before, man.
So. They have. So I don't know what their criteria is. But I mean, if you're Madden, you got to think to yourself, it's a really good chance the Chiefs could be in the Super Bowl every year. You're not going to put Mahomes or Travis Kelce every year, right? So just switch it up a little bit. You know, why not make it CMC? That guy was a baller this year. You know?
Was it Mahomes last year? I forget.
No, it was Josh Allen.
Josh Allen
last year. The year before was Mahomes.
Year before was Madden.
That was John Madden.
Oh, John Madden. I'm sorry.
It was Brady and Mahomes that year. And then Lamar. And then before Lamar was Mahomes.
Yep.
So Mahomes has done it twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so then it's for the sake of not giving it to Mahomes again. But I don't know. I mean, we were talking about how important CMC was to this team all year. This guy is crazy important. So I mean, to me, from just a fun football standpoint, it's like, yeah, give it to CMC, man. That guy might not ever win a Super Bowl with the 49ers, right? So give him that.
Hey, hold on. Can I say it again? I ain't mad at that.
So for me, it's like, yeah, why not just, why not? To me, I'd be more offended if it was a scrub. Then it'd be like, all right, come on, guys. Really? Who is that? But CMC, yeah, I think that's cool.
You know who you guys should know who I think I would want to see on there.
Dak Prescott, we get it.
Oh no.
Jerry Jones.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that's who you meant too, and I was like, damn, really?
So he does a good job of messing things up. Dak don't need to get hurt to mess stuff. No,
it's a bad luck.
If you think about it, you go back to a couple of years ago. I think we were all on a show. I think it was you guys' show, and we were talking about it. And I was I think it was you, Juwan. I was putting you on game on a guy that I told you that was super dynamic, and we were having a debate on was he better than another guy. And I think he proved that if he ain't the best in the league, he's definitely top two. That's JJ, Justin Jefferson. And I think I wonder if the pushback from putting him on it. Now he did get hurt last year. Could it be the fact that his quarterback this year is probably going to be Sam Darnold? Did they penalize him for that? Yeah. And then at some point JJ McCarthy slides in and gets the starting job, but he doesn't have perfect with him anymore. But I think JJ would have been perfect. But what I would love to see, because Juwan, you brought up the fact that a few years ago how we had both Tom and Patrick Mahomes on the cover. Man, give me a trio cover. Emphasize just great receivers. Give me Tyreek Hill, JJ, and getting CD Lamb. Give me CD, man. If we're gonna put a cowboy on the cover,
get you a cowboy in there. I get you.
All right, Homer. All right.
But no, actually,
CD about to get paid, bro. I mean, JJ just set the market. CD about to get paid, man. Put the man on the cover.
Nah.
It's funny. Since Ray Lewis, I can't think of a defensive player that's been on there. And if that's what I would have wanted. So the funny that you brought up CeeDee Lamb saying, getting a Cowboy on there. I think Michael Parsons should have got on there.
No, did you know who should have got on there? Stephon Gilmore, the year he won Defensive Player of the Year as a corner. That man should have had a Madden cover.
But they don't put defensive players too often. I think it's been since Ray Lewis.
My memory, so you had Ray Lewis, which was actually the same year. Was that 2005? Whatever.
I think Dion, right? Didn't Dion get a
the hit stick?
Yeah, that was that year.
Yeah,
that's when they started the hit stick. And then, if you remember, was it 2010? I believe. Palomalu was on there with Larry Fitzgerald.
Yes, with Larry Fitzgerald. Yes.
I thought Palomalu.
Those are the only two I can remember.
I forgot about the 2010 one. Yeah, that would have been the most recent.
Mm-hmm.
JJ Watt was never on there.
No. They don't really put defensive players on there. Even if you're looking at the Palomalu year, that was because they had him against Larry Fitzgerald. That's because that Super Bowl was so crazy.
Going with the concept that I had earlier about splitting it, if you want to go put him on there along with Myles Garrett, sorry, Javon, but you're emphasizing defense one year. Okay, I'm cool with that.
I will say, I think Madden and 2K. I think 2K does it. So let me take that back. But Madden should do what wrestling and basketball does. Madden should have a regular edition and then like a Legends edition. And in the Legends edition, you can open it up to all kinds of players. You can have your Madden athlete, right, for the main cover. But then you have an additional Madden that's like a Legends edition that gives you like Madden bucks or whatever. I don't know what they do in Madden. You can open it up to where you could have 3 people on it. You can have JJ, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase. You can do things like that. But keeping it as just one cover, it's always going to be a conversation because everyone's not going to agree on whoever you make is the Madden cover. So for me, it's like give it opportunity. Because remember in 2K, it was one year, weirdly, the cover was like Blake Griffin, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Like it was weird. It was
that was 13.
It was like
Derrick Rose. Yeah, it was like Derrick Rose, Blake Griffin, and Kevin Durant.
Yeah, it was like, why? I don't. You could pick any one of them and it would have been fine. Why all 3? Like that was just weird.
That was a weird one.
So for me, it's just like if you're Madden, open it up a little bit more. What? I mean, I don't understand why not. Everyone else.
My favorite was the Kyrie one where he got traded to Boston. So, but he had
they had to change it. Yeah, they changed it.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to do something to stay competitive because after all these years, the college football game is finally coming back. I'm gonna be out next month, and I absolutely cannot wait. I'm losing my mind in anticipation. To me, the greatest football game ever created with the EA Sports College games.
About to make Northern Illinois a 20-year dynasty. Every year winning.
Yeah.
Wait, I can play his Primes team,
I went to
right?
Northern Illinois.
Oh, I'm about to say that's so random.
I can play his Primes team, right?
Primes?
Deion Sanders.
Colorado?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. You can just play as whatever team you want to play with.
Oh, they about to win 600 championships.
They got Division 1, 2.
They got every D1 team.
All of D1 team.
D1, like the high level D1. They don't got like the FCS teams.
Okay.
But I mean, that's still 130 schools.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Doesn't matter. Championships.
Yeah. Northern Illinois about to be
Seminoles and a few
everywhere.
Other teams. Yeah, I'm good. Hey, it made me think about the video games we were talking earlier. I didn't bring it up, but I will. We were talking about JJ Redick. Back when they had the college games, man, JJ Redick, number 4 on Duke. Of course, you'd go in there and change the name, would shoot the lights out on there. Like you just pull up. He was draining everything back then, man. So hopefully this will eventually lead to them bringing, college basketball back.
It was him and Adam Morrison that were the top prospects coming out that year.
Yeah. But they can only do that for me, because I love college basketball, but I don't love it the way I used to. If they're going to bring that back at some point, they've got to have it where they have the old teams again, because I enjoy playing with a lot of the historic teams, the old 95 UCLA Bruins or something like that. That's what I enjoy the most. Yeah.
Old college football at some point does that, because I'd love to play with like those old Tim Tebow teams.
Well, they had it. I hope they bring it back at some point. Yeah, they had it at some point. You go back, because I would run like the the old, like the 93 Seminoles, and
Yeah, but I'm with you. College basketball needs to do that, because I need to run it back with that Zion RJ Barrett Duke squad. I need to get them a ring.
4 years ago.
I need to get them no, but I'm saying like have a like how they have all time Knicks, all time Nets, all time Bucks,
all time.
Have all time Duke. I believe Zion would be.
That would be stacked.
That would be
crazy. Hey.
All time North Carolina.
Ain't their fault.
All time Kentucky. That's not even fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair.
If they put all time Duke and all time Kentucky, would that be the first time we see a team overall be 100? Because usually everyone maxes out at 99. You'd have to put them at 100, right?
Yeah, that would be filled with NBA.
Don't forget, all time Kansas probably would too.
Kansas is gonna be up there. Kansas is gonna definitely be up there. Carolina, that would definitely be crazy.
Yeah, all time Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
UConn.
I'll tell you, wouldn't be ranked quite as high as those, but I could probably put together a really good Syracuse team, though. If you went all-time Syracuse players, if you go all the way back, you can dip into the 70s, but even just the 80s, between the 80s to 2000 alone, they had some ballers. So it's not going to be Duke. It's not going to be Duke or Kansas level, but Syracuse had some ballers, though.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the Nova Corps.
The Nova.
You had to slide that in.
I respect it. I respect them.
Brunson and them boys.
Deserve respect.
But the new the college football NCAA 25 will be out next month, so everybody's waiting on that. It's forcing you folks who don't have the Xbox One or the PS5. Now you got to go buy one, because they're not coming out on the PlayStation 4 and anything like that. So
yeah, it's time to upgrade, fellas.
Yeah. One of my buddies, well, I guess I got to go do it. I had a buddy and I mean, don't get me wrong, I still got all my old systems, but my he was like, I'm not doing it. It's still a great system. And as soon as he found out this was coming back, he said, oh, well, here it is.
It's that time.
Finally did
it. Got to make it happen.
That's fun.
That's all I got, fellas. You guys got anything you want to put out there?
No, that's it.
That's it.
No, good show.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate you guys coming through once again. I had a blast. You guys are always welcome. Once again, to everybody watching, happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. We really appreciate it. And Source and I will probably be back during the week or next month. We have some music we're doing because it's been about a month or so ago. It was the anniversary of Outkast's first album. Southern Playalistic, so we're going to talk about that album as well. And then at some point, either next week or the week after, we're going to be talking about the Friday series, Ice Cube's Friday series. A while back, we did Friday on a standalone, but that was a while ago. But we're going to redo it, but we're going to incorporate all three movies. So everybody be on the lookout for that. We'll have that coming at some point. So, all right.
Sweet.
No doubt.
I wanted to. I want to see if I want to try to do something for the NBA draft. So if you guys want to do something, I'm down.
All right.
That's what I think it's next week. So it's coming.
Oh yeah.
So I'm down. If you guys.
All right. No doubt. Let's figure it out. Let me know. We can figure out something. Let me know. All right. But appreciate everybody watching the SBP, y'all, and we are out.
Peace.
So.